Welcome to Fox 55's Green and Gold Gridiron.
The Packers continued their dominance on their home turf, a 53-20 victory over the Philadelphia Eagles. I am Brian Groff. Thanks for joining us on Fox 55's Green and Gold Gridiron. And the man to my left, former Packers and Badgers offensive lineman Bill Ferrario. What a weekend as an alumnus of both of those teams.
Brian, it was a phenomenal weekend to watch. I was down in Madison, got to watch the Packers in the comfort and warmth of my home, and two phenomenal games, high-scoring games, exciting games to watch.
We could spend the whole time during this show just rattling off records or on pace for records for this Green Bay Packers squad. 50-plus points, 2 weeks in a row, first time in team history. What do you think is allowing them to click at this point?
I think the word you used right there, click, I think just everything is clicking on all cylinders. Everything's working right. All phases of the game, they're all going successful. But on offense, I think the line's blocking, the receivers are getting open, the running backs are running hard, Aaron's throwing good balls, just everything's working the way it's supposed to work.
It's one thing to beat the Chicago Bears like they did, but to beat the Eagles, the best record of a team that they have beaten this year. Prior to that, it was the Miami Dolphins. What was the difference in this victory that maybe we didn't learn so much in the Chicago victory?
I think this victory, we're going up against a team that posed more of a challenge, both on offense and defense and on special teams. And I think being able to beat an opponent like that says a lot about your team and a lot about what you have moving forward.
Of course, we could spend 30 minutes talking about Aaron Rodgers, but let's rattle off some of the numbers for him. 29 touchdowns at home without a pick, NFL record. 322 straight passes at home without an interception, NFL record. 7 3-touchdown games with no interceptions, tied for second in NFL history. He is on top of his game right now.
He is. He's on fire. He can't do anything wrong right now. And like I said, everybody's working well. It's not just one player. It's not just Aaron doing his thing right and everybody else could do what they want. Everybody's performing well and performing at the best of their ability.
The theme of this win, complete game victory. With more on that, let's send it over to Jana Wimmer.
The Packers faced one of their toughest tests at home on Sunday, but made quick work of the Eagles. We take a closer look in this week's Breaking the Huddle. And obviously a division game this week as they travel to Minnesota. Guys?
Thank you very much, Jana. That Packers defense sacking Mark Sanchez 3 times. We have a member of that Green Bay Packers defense with us tonight at Scotty's in Schofield. We will welcome him to the show after this break. Stick around. Much more to come on Fox 55's Green and Gold Gridiron. Welcome back, everybody, to Fox 55's Green and Gold Gridiron. I am Brian Groff. Bill Ferrario with us as well. And 2 new members of our set. To my left is Keith Rording from PackerReport.com, whose feature story this week is on the Packers defense.
On the Packer defense, timely enough. Great to be here, Brian. Again, Aaron Rodgers has really set the bar so high with an MVP caliber season so far and what the Packer offense is doing. But on Sunday, it was the defense coming together again for the second week in a row. This unit is really gelling after the bye week. I mean, 3 sacks, 4 turnovers, 2 defensive touchdowns. I mean, what's there not to like about that? I know certainly this guy likes it.
It's a perfect segue into our special guest this evening, a second-year linebacker out of South Florida. He had a tackle for loss in that game against the Eagles. Please say hello to Sam Barrington.
4th down tackle for loss.
Sam, you heard Bill and I talking about all phases of the game clicking. Do you feel like, especially at Lambeau Field, that the Packers really are rolling at this point in the season?
I do, and when you have all phases of the game clicking like that, it makes it much more fun. And I know our mentality for the continuation of this season is just to keep that going. We focus on the style of football. Everybody's focused on that, and we know our goal. We know where our goal is, and we're just going to keep aiming for it.
Give us a little insight on the defensive side. Coming out of the bye, we saw some changes. We saw Clay Matthews move into the inside. You're still contributing. He has come in there. Talk about the change, I guess, in mindset, the change in the scheme, and how that's really come together now the last 2 weeks.
Right. Well, we all know what Clay can do, and I think just implementing him into the inside and getting Mike Neal and Nick Perry on the edges consistently, I think it does nothing but put our best players on the field. And since I'm able to contribute, I'm grateful for it, and I just want to come in and make a play when I can.
Making plays like that. There's one there you had to play. That was against the Chicago Bears. We got one right here as well. You're really contributing. Played a lot as a rookie. a couple starts this year. How do you feel that you have improved and gotten better and got a little more comfortable, I guess, within the defense?
Right. Well, anytime you have time to improve something, you should do nothing but improve at it if you use your time wisely. So that's just a complete illustration of that. And I anticipate with more time I continue to get more comfortable with the game and continue to do better.
Now, Sam, you missed a lot of your rookie year. You hurt your hamstring in that Chicago game. Now, there was another injury in that game. Some guy hurt his collarbone or something. Apparently, people were more focused on that. But you go out. The same game. Aaron Rodgers goes out, of course. You missed the rest of your rookie year. Now, you were a 7th-round pick. You missed most of your rookie year, but you come back and you earned 2 starts this year. What are you doing in the offseason? What takes you from that point where you're going off the field with that hamstring injury into the starting lineup?
Well, the way I see it, I mean, once you get drafted and you walk into the building, everybody's on the same playing field. So I didn't really focus on where I got drafted. I just knew that I was going to come into work, compete every day, and reap the benefits of it. So I took it very tough when I got put on IR because I wanted to continue to be out there, but I understood that, sometimes things like that happen. But I took it hard, and, I continued to get better, and I went home in the offseason, and I really focused on it. And there were some challenges, and I still get challenges today, but I see past the challenges, and I think that's what, gives me the most comfortability in the situation.
Sam, with us in the Packers here in the second half of the season, how exciting and important is having that home field advantage when you're out there as a defensive unit, having that crowd behind you making noise, rattling the opposing quarterback?
No doubt about it. And, hey, you guys can give yourself a round of applause because I'm telling you, we feed off of it and we appreciate it. So continue to bring it on, and because it's not just us winning, you guys are winning too, and that's what it's all about. Yeah.
Sam, you have a very interesting background growing up in Florida, but your father lives in Ghana, and it's become a special place for you. Could you give us the background of your family and your father being there and your visits going over to that country?
Right. Well, growing up, my dad and my mom split when I was 2 years old, and I think sometimes most people, they see that as a complete negative situation, and sometimes kids are troubled because of that. But I was fortunate enough to understand that, everything's not going to be, butterflies and flowers. And my mom was so strong, and she kept us together. And as I grew up, I formed a relationship with my dad, and we became close as if that never happened. And so I first traveled to Ghana when I was about 16 years old, and it totally opened my eyes. I was never a troubled kid, but it just gave me more of a reason to be who I wanted to be, and gave me more of a reason to appreciate the small things. And so I'm forever grateful for me being able to go to Ghana, and just it's just a beautiful place, and just to see how others live versus the way we live in the U.S., it just makes you appreciate life that much more.
Now, he's got a business over there, right?
Right.
The Sky Limit, cranes and that sorts of.
Yeah. He's started it about a very long time ago, and he's doing pretty well for himself right now. And for me to be doing well with what I'm doing and him to be doing well, it's a lot of people who want to name their child Samuel Barrington. That's a true story over there. So as ironic as it sounds, overall I'm just grateful for it.
Back, 6, 7 times
yes.
since that first trip?
Anytime I had a chance to go in college, I went. Spring break, my friends would say, hey, let's do this, let's do that. They already knew where I was going, so they didn't ask me as much. And in the off season, I went in February. I'm going back after the Super Bowl, and that's
nice. There we go, for a little R&R after the Super Bowl. That'll be good.
With you going back, does that mean that the young kids there now want to play football?
Yes, and someday I would like to take football to West Africa. And it sounds far-fetched, but when we all sit and think, hey, what will I be doing 25, 30 years from now, that's what I see myself doing. And I know it's a long shot, but anything, that you take the time and effort to put into, I see it happening. So with that being said, we'll see.
We got to ask you about one more part of your relation. LaTroy Guyon, who was sitting in that seat just a few weeks ago,
right,
is one of your cousins.
Yes, and that's on my mom's side, and it's crazy because while I was growing up, I knew the relation, but I didn't know it 100% like I do now. And I saw him playing football in high school, and he wasn't doing anything short of what he's doing now. So he was dominating then, and he had him a sack this past weekend. It was pretty nice.
He's really fit in. That's got to be fun for you.
It is.
With not only the way the defense has been playing, but for you to be related.
It is. And we just want to continue this thing out, and, hey, 6, 7, 8 weeks from now, continue to be feeling good about ourselves and the things we're doing on the field.
LaTroy had a somewhat elaborate sack dance. Is he working with you? Yours didn't look like you had planned it out as much as he had. Yeah. But you know what? Hey, maybe if I get something going on, I'll try to beat him at his own thing. There you go.
Yeah.
We look forward to seeing that. Let's turn our attention now to our Titletown topics. And Jana, let's kick things off.
You guys talked a little bit about clicking in all phases of the game. Well, on Sunday, for the first time since 2010, the Packers scored in every phase of the game: offense, defense, and special teams. Guys, what does that say about the way they're playing right now?
Helps you pile up the points, doesn't it?
It definitely does. I'll take this and start with it. I think it shows how well each phase is playing. Offense, obviously, you want to be scoring points on offense, but when that defense is putting points on the board for the offense, it just makes it that much easier. It shows that they're playing well, they're playing solid, they're getting their interceptions, they're getting fumbles, recovering fumbles, and getting that change of possession for the offense. And on special teams, you're executing your blocks, and the returners are taking it to the house. So it's exciting watching the Packers play football like that and scoring in all three phases.
Julius Peppers keeps being around the ball. He's finding a way into the end zone, too.
Yeah, and it's happening, man. It's happening. And one thing about me, the way I see it is I see the hard work those coaches put in. So when we go out there and we do things like that, it just makes me feel good because it's like we're meeting them halfway like we're supposed to do. And it's a beautiful thing because we all understand we're a family. We have a common goal, and we're all putting the same effort and interest towards that goal, and it's just working out beautifully.
Peppers, after that game, he talked about mindset and attitude, and I think those two things are just focusing on that. You see the defense, they get their hands on the ball, now they're scoring. Casey gets that fumble that goes off of Sanchez's hands. He takes that in 40 yards. Of course, Micah might have had the play of the game. So, I mean, when you're scoring in all three phases, it really underscores the dominance that this team is taking part in.
We're going to break down that punt return later in the show, but first, topic 2.
The Packers are back inside their division when they visit Minnesota on Sunday. The first meeting, obviously, a little lopsided in favor of the Packers. Christian Ponder, though, was the quarterback for the Vikings. Now it'll be Teddy Bridgewater. What kind of dynamic does he give Minnesota?
Sam, we'll start with you.
Well, he's a young guy. So one thing about young guys is, and who start to take the positive and the upward course in their career, you never know when that time's going to be, but you want to make sure it's not on you. And I played against Teddy in college. I think he's a heck of a quarterback, and he has some mobility. And the thing about it is he's mobile, but he doesn't just use it just because. He's decisive with what he does on the field, and I think he has a lot of composure for a young quarterback. And so we want to take that composure away, of course, and get him to make some plays in our favor and play our game.
Yeah, it's a misnomer that he's a running quarterback. He's absolutely not. In fact, Aaron Rodgers has more rushing yards than Teddy Bridgewater. But accurate passer, and again, he hasn't done more than Ponder did, and Ponder's done, but I think he has the potential to do that. And to your point, you just don't want to see it on Sunday. Not this Sunday, anyways.
No, sir.
And I agree. I think he's an athletic quarterback that's going to keep our defense on our toes, but I think our defense is going to play solid, stick to their gaps in their assignments, and hopefully make him make mistakes and make them early.
All right, we'll have our next 2 topics coming up after this break. Stick around. Much more to come here.
Welcome back to Green and Gold Gridiron. We are at Scotty's in Schofield, and we have Packers linebacker Sam Barrington here with us tonight. We've covered Titletown topics 1 and 2, and it's time for 3 and 4. With the Lions loss and the Packers win, now they're tied for top spot in the NFC North. The Lions, they have a pretty tough schedule. They have the Patriots next and then 4 division games. Green Bay also sees the Patriots, but they have just 2 NFC North games. Guys, are the Packers going to push ahead of the Lions during this stretch?
Packers already got through the meat of their schedule, so
You know,
What do you think from here
the
on
Patriot. We've been saying this all along. I think the Patriot game is a measuring stick. I mean, absolutely. I think when you looked at the schedule when it first came out, it was a measuring stick. It's even more so now. Tom Brady's still at the top of his game. I'm not sure any quarterback does more with less. I mean, some guy named Jonas Gray is rushing for 4 TDs. So, I mean, definitely the Patriot game, you're going to know a lot about this team after that. I think you're going to have things kind of crystallizing for the playoff picture. But you can't overlook anyone. Look what happened to Denver going down to Tampa Bay, right?
Exactly. And I totally agree with the whole measuring stick concept, and it'll be interesting to see. It really will. That's all I'll say.
I also agree. I think the Patriots game is going to be a challenging game on the Packers schedule, but when comparing the two, I think the Packers definitely have an advantage looking at the remainder of the schedule with the Packers game and the Lions game being at home, as opposed to the Lions having more challenging games at the remainder of their schedule and more road games.
That's a great point.
I don't want to put Sam on the spot, so I'll have Keith and Bill real quick answers. Do you think Packers-Lions in the final game will come down to the division, or will there be separation by then?
I think there might be separation. I think the separation might be Green Bay beating the Patriots at home versus the Lions losing. I mean, the Lions just lost at Arizona. They had 3 games prior to that where they came back in the final 2 minutes. You know, if they've been playing over their heads, I think it's going to start showing up now at this point in the season.
And I think it's going to be a little bit of both. I think it is going to be because we will do well, but I think it's also the challenge of Detroit on the road and having the division games later on in the season. So it will be nice going in that last game as a fan and I'm sure as a player to not have the pressure of that last game meaning as much as it can.
All right, topic 4.
And we have a little audience help for topic number 4. Vern Hone here has a question for you guys.
We all know that Jordy Nelson's a great receiver. Do you think that he has enough catches and enough yards after the catch to qualify to go to the Pro Bowl this year?
Think he's 2 away from 1,000.
Absolutely. I mean, if Jordy Nelson isn't having a Pro Bowl season as a receiver, I don't know what it looks like.
No question about it. And the crazy thing about it, I was just sitting on the sideline, and I just looked over to one of the guys, and I said, he's going to the Pro Bowl. Yeah. And I know we're supposed to be focused on the game, but when you're watching that happen on the field, you have a heightened appreciation for it. And it's special. It's special what they're doing out there. And we got, 6 more games to go, regular season. So just think of what they could do from here on out.
I think with the numbers, you definitely have to say it's a Pro Bowl year. But I think the way the NFL is going with the offenses and the high scoring, I think numbers aren't going to mean as much. But when you look at the way Jordy Nelson plays and the type of catches he's making and the yards after a catch that he gets, I think that's what, in my eyes, the numbers are great and the numbers are there for the Pro Bowl, but it's the type of catches that he's bringing down and the type of yards after the catch that he gets that really signifies Pro Bowl season.
You see it every day. Not the fastest guy, doesn't jump the highest, but he's got such good body control. What do you see out of him? What's making him separate himself right now?
I think he just plays his game, and Jordy isn't a small guy. Mm-hmm. He's not a small guy. He's fast, and he's a guy who's very comfortable into his style of play, and he just plays his game, and he doesn't make it any more difficult than what it is. He's been playing football for a very long time, and I think we're just seeing that come out right now.
And Sam, we were talking before the show, I'm continually surprised when they do a one safety high and they have somebody manned up with Nelson. I feel like him and Rodgers must be licking their chops.
Maybe they're seeing something that we don't see.
I don't know. I think we're seeing the result of that, though. It's a lot of touchdowns. So.
That was great. That wraps up our Titletown topics. We will be back after the break, and we will have our Bills breakdown and our Fox 55 pick'ems. Time now for Bill's breakdown, everybody's favorite part of the show. Bill has some help now during this segment.
It is. I have my 2 children here. I have Christopher, my son, and Luciana, my daughter, who always get a kick out of the little segment of me with the ball. And I just noticed it does look like I dropped the ball there. And I do know I'm a lineman,
never dropped the ball.
I have good hands, and I would never drop that ball.
You do, and you've never been called for holding either. As always, we bring up for our guest picks, which we'll get to in a minute. We're not going to have our player guest pick other teams because we don't want to rile them up because they watch the show in places like Massachusetts and Detroit.
They watch the YouTube channel.
So they do on Wednesdays. Let's get into our Bills breakdown. This was a 10-0 game, and it really the tide turning Micah Hyde with a punt return for a touchdown, 75 yards. And Bill, break it down for us.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. As you could probably guess, Brian, have never been a punt returner. I've never been on the field during a punt. But the one nice thing about this, the one thing I've always heard in special teams meetings is you want to make that first guy miss. And what you see here that Micah does great is this first guy that's out about 7 yards, he makes a miss, and then look at how much field you have in front of him. And what the Packers do very well is they get a man on a body. They get some nice blocks downfield, and Micah has a really good run. And basically, that's part of the winning and scoring in all three phases of the game. And this shows a successful day on the Packers special teams.
And Sam, you could attest to that. Everybody blocks. They do their job. You make the first guy miss, and you beat the kicker.
Yeah, and it doesn't take much on the blocks. All you have to do is basically change a guy's course, and that's all that happens. The punt is going to happen that fast, and when they say make the first guy miss, coach emphasizes get off the spot. If the returner can get off the spot, then hey, the sky's the limit for the rest of the return.
And I'll tell you, one little last part to it was I think everybody had a phenomenal play on that, but at the end there, I think Micah did kick it into a little overdrive when he saw that punter taking the correct angle. Nobody wants to get tackled by the punter.
That's right, exactly. What an ending to that play. That's our Bills breakdown. Time to turn our attention now to the pick'ems.
Yeah, and Keith went 4-0 last week, so I think that deserves like
we
a
have
big
a new leader
round
at
of
the top
applause.
of the standings.
He's now tied for the
Thank you.
lead.
Everybody
so,
laughs.
You took the Chiefs, that's
yes,
why.
That was a
That helped.
good pick.
Chiefs at home.
We start with Buccaneers at Bears, and I'm going to go with the Bears because they're one of the most storied franchise in history. I hope Ben heard
Jana
that.
lost a bet.
Because I lost a bet.
Jana
I had
lost
to
a
say
bet.
it.
She had to say
She
that.
had to say that. I took the Bears last week. I'll take them again.
I'm going to take him again.
We're going against the trend here.
Ah.
We don't think the Bears are
A
going
lot
to
of
do it.
Ferrarios over there.
There are a lot of Ferrarios over there. Next up, we have Lions at Patriots. Patriots on this one.
Lions are going to lose again.
Yeah, I don't think there's any late game comeback in this one for the Lions.
Lift it up. Patriots. Patriots.
That one's unanimous.
And Packers at Vikings.
I figure Sam would want us to take the Packers.
Yes.
Of course.
Of course.
So those are our picks for this week. Thanks for the help.
Say you're welcome.
That's fantastic.
Good
And
job.
our thanks to Packers linebacker Sam Barrington. One more round of applause for Mr. Barrington. For all of us here on the crew, thanks for watching. We'll see you again next week.
Thank you for watching Fox 55's Green and Gold Gridiron.